My message is called the joy movement.
Mhm.
And there's 2 rules that I have. The first rule is when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to spread joy even when I don't want to, because we're going to have mornings that you do not feel 100%.
Yep.
But what's great about joy is it costs nothing. It costs you absolutely $0 to make someone's day.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
absolutely true.
And the number 2 rule that I live by is make someone else's day before they make mine. If you can do that, then at the end of the day, everything comes full circle.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining Comms Confidential. Today's conversation will have Vincent Chapman, the dancing umpire. But before that, I want to remind you to hit subscribe, follow Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Vincent, thanks for joining Comms Confidential today.
Hey, Joseph, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you having me.
So you're known as the dancing ump. People might know you from YouTube or TikTok with Savannah Bananas. Before that, you've been an umpire for 15 or so years. How'd you become the dancing ump? What's the story behind that?
I had a video go viral in 2015. The Bananas saw it, reached out to me on Facebook. Was looking for an entertaining umpire, and the rest is history.
An entertaining umpire. That definitely fits. Can you talk a little bit about the inspiration behind it? Like, how did you come up with this idea of dancing behind the plate or between the batters and like making the game more fun for the fans when our baseball is not necessarily known as a quick and fast sport?
Sure. Well, I started umpiring when I was 15. So, I was a kid, enjoyed the game of baseball, played through high school, and then umpiring Little League. You see these kids getting yelled at by their coaches, parents, teammates. It was a nonstop brutal doing these tournaments on the weekend, seeing these kids cry because they messed up or, they made a mistake. Fast forward about 6 or 7 years, parents started bringing these ice chests that had the built-in Bluetooth speakers so they could connect their phones and play music in between innings, in between games. And I took that and it was like, if I'm going to be out here for 8 hours, I'm going to have fun myself. I've danced since I was real little in diapers, love music, love to dance. And that's what I started doing in between innings at Little League games. And just to break the stress level of these kids, man, like they're playing a game, first of all, a game that's supposed to be fun. But instead, they're worried about striking out. They're worried about, missing a ground ball because they're going to get ridiculed and yelled at. And, that's what's crazy is like it's a game, first of all. And second of all, like even MLB players, they get paid millions of dollars. We know the statistic. They get on base every 3 times at 10 times at bat. But we want these little league kids to get on base every single time. And if they strike out, oh my gosh, Johnny, why did you do that? It was very frustrating to see. When I did start dancing, I saw a difference in these kids where they would start dancing too, and they would relax, and they would start to enjoy themselves.
No, that's fantastic. Bringing that joy to, especially with kids, is just, it's something that you don't see every day, to be honest. To your point, the parents are always like jumping in and not or other teammates are jumping in and like not making them feel like they're their best, even if they are getting on 4 times out of 10, which is better than major league average, like you said.
Correct.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you went viral in 2015. I think the video hit more than 12 million views from what I saw. How did you manage that influx of attention? That must have been like a 15 minutes of fame moment type of thing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool because I was known as the dancing umpire for years. And then that video went viral and it served over 10,000 comments. And what's crazy is there was a lot of positive, but there was also a lot of negative about, how I was embarrassment to an umpire, how I was embarrassment to the game, how, you shouldn't show any, attention to yourself, which is true in certain leagues. Like MLB, you call the game. If you're not saying you had a great job, you're doing a great job. High school, I umpired high school baseball. I didn't dance in between innings. I didn't dance during the game, but I wanted to, you know what I mean? So, these little league games and these tournaments that I went to, I did several World Series tournaments and, we enjoyed ourselves. Like me and my umpiring crew, like we would have fun while the kids had fun too. We would call a good game like you're supposed to, but in between innings, we were going to dance. We were going to goof off. We were going to just, show these kids it's okay to have fun and be yourself. When that video went viral and I saw the hate, some of them bothered me. because they didn't
Mhm.
understand the circumstance or the reason that I was doing what I was doing. A lot of them thought I was just trying to bring attention to myself and that I was taking away from the kids, and that was furthest from the truth. Like, I was doing it to bring them joy and bring them happiness. When the Bananas called me 6 years later, I mean, or messaged me on Facebook 6 years later, I mean, who would ever want a dancing umpire? It just kind of blew my mind.
Did you keep it going between that? You said there was a 6-year gap between that video and the Bananas reaching out. You kept it going throughout those 6 years, though.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So, so
Yeah.
you had that staying power.
Yeah, absolutely. In this area where I live in Northeast Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, everybody knew who I was as the dancing umpire. So I still did tournaments on the weekends and um, did high school baseball during the week.
Mhm. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about how you balance your individual personality of dancing up. Like you said, people in your region, North Texas, Louisiana, they know who you are. And then you've got the broader team identity because you're working for the Bananas or with the Bananas. How do you balance that? How do you manage your own personal brand as opposed to who you are on the field for them?
I just try to be myself. I know I'm on a big platform. I know I'm seen, as a social media, content creator, but I'm Vincent Chapman. I'm
Mhm.
the person that treats everybody the way that I want to be treated. Um, if I'm at the grocery store or I'm at the baseball field, wherever I'm at, I'm going to have that same energy. I'm going to say that have that same attitude because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all bleed red. So I'm no better than anybody else. I don't care how big I get or how much money's in my bank or anything like that. I'm the same as everyone else. So whenever someone says, "Oh my God, it's the dancing umpire," that's awesome. But I'm actually Vincent Chapman. I'm actually a human being just like you are. I'm just blessed to be on a platform with the Bananas that are shown to millions of people, and I can show and my personality and my attitude and my energy that positive to
No,
a
that
lot of people. Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. Is there a process that you go through? Because the Bananas are known for these huge events, the theatrical, the guys on stilts, the dancing, the backflips. When you are before you get on the field, are you talking to them about like what you're going to do, or is your stuff impromptu, improv based on how the game is flowing?
95% of the time, the music of that or the dances that I do are off the cuff. I listen to the music and I just dance. I'm not a choreographed dancer. I'm not a trained dancer. I've never been to a dance class. So
Wow,
when they do have certain times, they have like a scripted, "Hey, we want you to do this TikTok dance," then I will rehearse it.
got it.
I'll rehearse the game day, and then once it's time, we'll do it. But 95% of the time, I just when it's my time to shine, I'll just go off the cuff.
That's amazing because there's a desire, I think, at least on the corporate world where I work, where I live, there's a desire to control some of that stuff. The fact that they're letting you go, that trust in that you've done this, you know it works. That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, corporate. I've worked in corporate, and I'm not saying anything terrible about corporate because I know at the end of the day you have to make money. But what if they would realize that if they would trust their people to let them be them and let their joy shine and let their energy and their personality shine, that not only would the work environment be better, but also the clientele would be more happy. Because right
Mhm.
now with corporate, everybody's a number. Everybody, it doesn't matter what you do, your bottom line has to be there. And if your bottom line's not there, you didn't do a great job. And unfortunately, a lot of things are out of people's control. You can't force someone to buy something. You can't force someone to use you. But what
Mhm.
you can do is spread joy and positivity and make them feel like they're wanted and needed. Make them feel like their family. That's why the Bananas are so successful because everything we do is with the fans in mind. Every idea we come up with is with the fans in mind. So
Mhm.
corporate America could learn a lot by Jesse Cole and his ideas and his books. What's great about me and Jesse Cole is I'm the same as Jesse Cole as far as wanting people to be happy. I
Yep.
want to spread as much joy and happiness as I can. When I speak at schools and I go to conferences, my message is called the Joy Movement.
Mhm.
And there's two rules that I have. The first rule is when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to spread joy even when I don't want to, because we're going to have mornings that you do not feel 100%. But what's great about joy is it costs nothing. It costs you absolutely $0 to make someone's day.
It's true. It's
And
absolutely true.
and the number two rule that I live by is make someone else's day before they make mine. So,
Yeah.
and if you can do that, then at the end of the day, everything comes full circle. I believe in karma. I believe that what goes around comes around. I believe if you treat others the way that you want to be treated, eventually your life will be blessed.
It's interesting. Make someone's day before yours, before they make yours. That's an interesting mantra to live by.
Yeah, and it's simple to do. Open a door, give a compliment, buy someone a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Simple, because we're all going through something. We're all going through something small, maybe someone's big, but we're all dealing with something because that's life and that's part of it. But if I can spread some joy and positivity and happiness, who knows what I could do to their life? Maybe I click something in their brain and be like, you know what? It's not as bad as I think it's not as bad as I think it is.
Right.
So
it's interesting because you mentioned, some of those examples are just complete nonverbal. Open a door, buy a cup of Starbucks, if you're in the drive-through and just pass it back behind you type of thing. A lot of what you do is nonverbal. You're dancing on the field, you're bringing joy that way. It's delivered through body language, energy, reading the room, essentially.
yes.
What I'm gonna bring it back to the communications profession for a second. What do you think comms pros can learn from how you use your nonverbal cues to build like an emotional connection with their audience? Like if it's in a speech or if it's with an executive or something along those lines. Like what do you think is like that connective tissue, nonverbal cues to emotional connection?
Oh, that's a great question. I've never even thought about that before. I do know that people can hear a smile without seeing a smile. It's all in your voice. If I wasn't seeing you right now, I could tell you if you're in a happy mood or a bad mood just by the tone of your voice. Um, I think that if you just do things from your heart, do things because you love it and not because you have to. I think people feel that. My job as a dancing umpire is the best job that I've ever had in my whole life. I get to entertain people, I get to dance, and I get to umpire. And that like you said, it's a lot of nonverbal, but it's energy. It's energy that I put out that hopefully people receive. And my energy, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I don't. Like at the end of the day, if you're like, man, that dude's trash. Well, that's your opinion and you're entitled to that opinion and that's okay. You didn't affect me. Like you didn't hurt me. You didn't rob from me. You didn't hurt anybody I love. Like your words are fine. Like, and if I'm not for you, that's fine too. I'm not for everybody. But for you to say you hate me, that's unfair because you don't know me and you don't know my heart. So then again, that's on you and not on me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
No, it makes a lot of sense.
With your communication, I don't have communication background like you do, but I would say if you treat others the way that you want to be treated, the golden rule, I think it all works out. But just remember that you can't love anything else truly in this world unless you love yourself. So finding self-love, finding something that you love yourself for, because we all are great at something. Maybe art, maybe singing, it may be art, it may be something, but we're all great at one thing in this life. God didn't make anybody that wasn't great at one thing at least. You know what I mean? And it's okay to be okay with the rest of the things. It's okay to be average. There's not many Shohei Ohtanis in this world that can pitch and can hit. But you have really good pitchers in the league and you have really good hitters in the league. So, that's what we have to live our motto by. I'm blessed with the understanding and the knowledge that I am a good entertainer and I'm a really good filler of the room. I'm blessed with that. If you ask me to put on some Nike Jordan shoes and lace them up and get on the basketball court, I'm not going to be very great. I'm going to be average at best. So, finding those things that you're really good at and owning it and loving yourself for it, then you can truly love something else. And you can really give that passion to something, if that makes sense. That makes sense at all.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, you can only be your best at something if you truly love it.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
That's facts.
So let's go back to umpiring for a second. On the field, you're getting a lot of feedback. Like as you go through your dance, whether it's the first inning, the ninth inning, it doesn't matter. You go through, you're getting feedback from the crowd, probably the players. I'm assuming you've had something that just doesn't land with the crowd. Like you've done a move or something that.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? Like where it's just like either falls flat or there's nothing or there's a boo or something. But like also, how do you adjust like for the next moment? Because you're living in the moment on this.
You got to move on. Like it's nothing. Now, did it never land for anybody? You can never say that. Did something ever land for anybody? They can never say that. So did it never land for a majority of the people? Yeah. But what are you going to do? You can't change it. You can't dwell on things that you can't change. All you can do is worry about what you can fix. And what I can fix is make sure I call the rest of the game as good as I can and still entertain. You're going to get down on yourself. You're going to get upset with yourself, but make sure it's short. Make sure it's short lived in your head. Because if you dwell on you screwing up, then guess what? The rest of the game you're gonna screw up.
Yeah, it sounds like I mean, you've got the same mentality then that they talk about in the NFL with cornerbacks. You got to have a short memory, pass to pass. You got to live pass to pass, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're all human. Like, and I'm not perfect by any means, and I'm not the best umpire out the world. I'm not the best dancer in the world, but I take pride in my energy. I take pride in giving positive energy in and positive energy out. Whether you like it or you don't, it's who I am, and that's who I'm gonna be. I'm to the day I pass. You're not gonna get me down.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna bring me down. You can make me upset, but at the end of the day, I will get back up. I will, because I don't. Life's too short. We only live once.
Yeah.
So
No.
my life is not perfect. I go through things just like everybody else does. And what's great about it is you live where your feet are, and you control what you can control. If you still look in the past and live in the past, then you'll never grow.
Mm-hmm.
If you can learn from your mistakes and move forward, then that's when you succeed. You get out of your comfort zone. I mean, I'm not scared to dance in front of 100,000 people. I'm not scared of
Clearly
of making a fool out of myself, whatever people think. I don't care what people think. It genuinely, I know where my heart is. I know where my passion is. And that's what I live by. I want to make as many people happy as possible. I want to make as many people smile as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan, he's not everybody's favorite player. But if you look on the stats, he was the best. I mean, you're not going to please everybody. It's just bottom line. Some people like McDonald's, some people like Burger King. What's the difference? I don't see much difference in the two. Both of them are gut busters, if you will. Like, neither one of them settle in your stomach very well. So it's okay. It really is okay if not everybody likes you, if not everybody goes your way. It's okay, because there's a lot more people that do. A lot more people that do appreciate what you do.
Yeah. You've got to have a short memory across the board. Otherwise, you're just going to dwell on it. You're not going to be able to move on, like you said, and you're not going to be able to be the best person moving forward.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about something I uncovered in the research. You're stepping onto the comedy stage a little bit. You're going to open for, I think the show is called Umpire Unmasked.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yep. It
hasn't been released. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So it'll release actually this coming Tuesday. Well, it depends on when we go live on the show, but it will start in March. It's Umpire Unmasked. I will be hosting and emceeing a comedy show. It'll feature 3 to 4 comedians each show. I'll be the host MC. We'll have fun. We'll dance. We'll do all fun things. It won't be like your typical you sit down and there's no crowd participation. There's going to be crowd participation in this. I'm going to do it either the night before we have games or the night after we're in town for games. So just give a break for these parents. To get out and get away and have a date night or just a girls' night or a guys' night, just to get away and have fun for a night. We as parents do a lot for our children, and we don't really take time for ourselves. So I thought this was a great idea just to have. And I've always loved comedy. I've always enjoyed comedy. I'm not saying I'm a comedian by any means, but I know people and I know how to read a room. And I'm looking forward to roasting as many parents and coaches in the audience as I can, because they roast me every game, every call. So it's going to be fun to pick on old Johnny that's coaching his 10-year-old team, and I know his son plays shortstop because he's just got that mentality about him.
No, that sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. How have you found, like, going from behind the plate to the stage a little bit? Like, how did you find your voice to be that MC, to be that opener? I mean, it's not like it's going to be the same thing being in a room of like 20, 30, 40 versus a stadium of like 100,000.
Right. What's great about me, in school, I did speech, I did one-act play, so I'm not afraid of the stage. I enjoy being in front of people. I speak at schools, I speak at conferences, so me being in front of people talking, that it doesn't bother me at all. I enjoy it. So, the saying, "Don't put all your eggs in one basket." So that's what I'm doing. I want to spread as much and let people see as much as me as they can. And yes, I'm an umpire, and yes, I dance, but I'm also a person that wants to spread as much joy and positivity and happiness as we can. We have so much dark in this world that if I can give them an hour of laughs and fun, then that's what I want to do.
Awesome. No, that sounds great. And I think the idea of not putting all your eggs in one basket is something a lot of people are thinking about and considering nowadays. I'm going to ask this. What do you think the one thing, and I could probably guess based on the conversation or what your answer is going to be, but if you had to give like one or two pieces of advice to someone who's considering a job that in communications or not, who is thinking about like how they train for one thing and might have to pivot to another, like what advice would you give them? Because you kind of did that. You were an umpire, you decided to pivot into being, the dancing umpire and put some joy into it. And then the Bananas called. Now you're pivoting again to potentially go into comedy a little bit. So when you think about those pivots, like what's the advice that you would give to anyone going through it?
Believe in yourself. Know who you are. Trust yourself and follow the process. You're going to have ups and downs, but don't let it keep you down. And do something you love to do. If communications is something you love and you that's what you want to do, then do it. And people can only tell you no, but eventually you'll get a yes. People, when you put an application in once, you get no, and then you get discouraged, you never do it again. Well, that's on you. It's not on them. You wouldn't a fit for them, right? But there's so many people out there that you can be a fit for. I say work hard, master your craft. If that takes practicing in the mirror 100 hours, I'm not saying I practice my dance moves in the mirror. Okay. That's not what I said, but practice, what you have, and, and take the people that you love and they love you, and shoot ideas off of them, and get their opinions. But don't be afraid to fail either. Like, it's okay to fail. It's how you grow. If you ask the Bananas, and when I first started being the dancing umpire, man, my strike zone was not great. It wasn't. You learn as you go and you get better as you go. But if I would have quit my first season after having a bad game or having 2 bad games, I would have regretted the rest of my life. Because this is what I love to do. So, when you're first starting out, you have so many insecurities and you're not sure. And you don't know if you're doing it right or whatever, man, it's okay to fail, but it's also great to take constructive criticism, be able to take that. Because everybody's been where you've been. Like, everybody's, if you're a first year person, somebody's been there before. Just be approachable, take accountability when you screw up. Don't be pointing fingers. It's a lot to digest, but at the end of the day, man, if you don't take any risk, you'll never make it.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I believe that there is no failure unless you just don't learn from it.
That's right.
Doesn't matter if you get booed, if you end up missing your performance indicators, whatever you want to call the measurement benchmarks. If you learn from it, you're not actually failing.
That's right. So I tell my kids growing up, I was like, hey, listen, you screwed up. That's a mistake. But if you continue making that same mistake, it's not a mistake anymore. It's a choice.
Yeah. That's a really good way to look at it. On that note, Vincent, where can the listeners find you?
All over social media, The Dancing Umpire. If you just Google The Dancing Umpire, you'll find my socials. My website is thedancingumpire.com. So I have a website there. All my bookings are there, my bobbleheads, my merch. I have a bobble butt. So, yeah, bobblehead and a bobble butt. I actually have one. I'll show it to you. But I only have a few left. It was only 144 made, so it's first come, first serve on those. Who knows?
Collector's item.
Definitely a collector's item. All of them autographed, and they're numbered 1 through 144 at the bottom.
That's awesome. Well, Vincent, thanks for joining us today.
Joseph, appreciate it.
Hugely interesting conversation. And thanks everyone who's listening. Join us next time on Comms Confidential.